That's why Gomez was put out there to make sure Sterling doesn't get anything. No end product for Sterling. That's what it's all about for Liverpool down that left-hand side today. But very positive. Do not gamble in defence in this game, because if you do and you lose it, wow, they can really fly.
Mahrez with the set piece here, and of course his delivery can be brilliant. Left-footed from the far side in front of the top end. In it comes. Bernardo Silva was after it, but it was just touched away. Walker plays it back in. It's blocked away to the halfway line. Mendy waits for it. Two Liverpool players closing him down. Chipped it forward. And now Liverpool with Gomez. And Gomez plays it into the path of Milner. He's got that great front three, all marauding forward. And his ball from the angle was cut out by John Stones. Back to Milner. It's deflected across. And then Salah a little heavy with the challenge on Fernandinho. No free kick. Martin Atkinson's allowed it to run. Bernardo Silva now running it over the halfway line. Bernardo Silva, is then challenged by Mane, who is sliding in from behind him. It's a foul, and it's a free kick to Manchester City.
How can a game like this be so open so early? Nearly 15 minutes gone, and it's like a game of basketball. You attack, we attack.
Yeah, that was the first little hint of it, wasn't it? Suddenly, this is what we came here expecting to see today.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not disappointing. The quality's been good, the passing's been good.
And that was a heavyish one by Mane, who was sliding in from behind, just mistimed it, and they're back underway. Manchester City with the ball inside their own half. They're both there, Klopp and Guardiola. Guardiola bareheaded, Jurgen Klopp with a very dark red baseball cap, hands in his pockets at the moment, watching Manchester City coming forward down the left-hand side. Pass a little heavy from Mendy, so Alisson is able to scurry out of his 6-yard box to the right-hand side and pick it up under no particular pressure at all. So still 0-0, a quarter of an hour played. There will be 6:06 once we have wrapped everything up here after this match, whatever happens. And plenty to talk about today. The matches that are still being played: Rangers 3-1 up on Hearts, and St Johnstone 0, Celtic 5. Liverpool with the ball inside his own half. Played forward towards Wijnaldum. It turns back onto his right foot, gives it to Firmino, who's very deep here in the centre circle. Out it goes to the right-hand side to Salah. Salah, who scored in the last 3 matches between these two teams. Firmino now near the right corner of the box, gives it to the far side. Gomez is there. Milner takes up a position halfway inside the half on the far side, and then passes it back towards the halfway line. Manchester City with everyone, including Aguero, behind the ball. Out it comes to Pep Guardiola's side of the field. Guardiola watching impassively, and then suddenly bursts into a little flurry of gesticulations. The Manchester City coach, Jurgen Klopp, having won, well, it's either 7 or 8 of the matches between them. Henderson, long pass for Salah through the middle, but it just bounces away. It skips through to goalkeeper Ederson, who gives it out quickly. Dion, here's David Silva over the halfway line. He's got Sterling out there on the far side, but he'll go back towards the halfway.
Yeah, he just took his eye off the ball there. It was Henderson that just thought, well, that's a great run, I'm going to bang it just in front of you. And as the ball was going over his head, Salah was checking to see if he was onside, took his eye off the ball, and the ball went away from him. It was a great run, it was a great ball, and he just took his foot off the gas, otherwise he was in on goal.
Liverpool 0, Manchester City 0, 5 Live in the World Service. Yes, this rivalry between the two of them that goes back to their days in Germany together, and it is a relatively friendly rivalry, isn't it? You know, it is absent of a lot of the spice and unpleasantness between various managers we can think of over the years. Here is Mahrez, who goes back into central defence, and then chipped forward by Stones. Bernardo Silva just controlled it behind Andy Robertson, who gambled a little there, but Van Dijk was there as the Liverpool covering defender. But it goes to David Silva. Henderson quickly in on David Silva with a good tackle, and then Robertson with a heavy touch out of play on the halfway line. Throw-in taken by Walker. Fernandinho to Riyad Mahrez on the right-hand side for Manchester City. Only his 3rd start in the Premier League for Manchester City. Riyad Mahrez, after his big money move, £60 million or thereabout from Leicester City in the summer. Back it goes into central defence to Laporte. Laporte now, another one of those left-footed passes, pinpoint to Mahrez, who pulls it down brilliantly, and now Walker on the overlap. Walker's ball in, a stretched right leg from Van Dijk puts it behind for a corner to Manchester City.
Yeah, that's Van Dijk knowing exactly where he's expecting the ball to go, putting himself in that position and just nullifying any chance of that ball making it into the box. Have a guess who's taking the corner, everybody.
Yes, it's Manchester City's number 7, Raheem Sterling. Takes it short to Mahrez, and Mane comes across and blocks it out for a throw-in. So they sent Laporte forward, and now Laporte and Stones are making their way back towards the halfway line. Didn't even get into the penalty area. Sterling back towards Mahrez. Now Bernardo Silva, this little Portuguese, plays it back to Stones on the halfway line. Stones turns it to his left in the centre circle to Laporte. Laporte now to Mendy on the far side in the bright white boots. Mendy. Then to Fernandinho, now back to Mendy again, and then Mendy goes to Stones in the centre circle. Yes, the matches they've played against each other, 14 in all competitions, teams of Guardiola and Klopp has won 8 of those 14, but one was won on penalties in the German Cup in the Borussia Dortmund Bayern Munich days. Here's Sterling now down the left-hand side to Mendy. Mendy drives it across, but there was Van Dijk again, well positioned on the edge of the penalty area. Bernardo Silva takes it up again, his ball through, lovely flick from David Silva. Aguero now to the edge of the box. Van Dijk comes across, puts in the challenge. Mendy on the left hand side. Mendy's deep cross to the back post. It's going to be beyond Mahrez. It lands almost in the full back position on the other side, but Mahrez has caught up with it, and Mahrez plays it back now to Bernardo Silva. Mahrez once again, 3 Liverpool players out there with him. Bernardo Silva, this is a good period of possession from Manchester City, and now it's swung all the way over from this right hand side to the left hand side to Sterling. Gets the ball down, right footed ball in, diving header away by Lovren. He needed to. It's come back into the area though to Aguero. Quite a heavy challenge from Lovren. Aguero went down, got back up, and Lovren puts it out for a corner.
Wow, what strange sort of turn of events that was. It was headed out, a great header from Lovren, heads it out the box. He was stretching, should have really gone out for a corner, but he got it towards the throwing line, and Gomez tried to clear it. It went straight back into the area that he'd just cleared, and it could have been a penalty on Aguero.
Aguero might have stumbled. Here's the corner though, and it's headed away by Henderson for Liverpool, 10 yards from his goal line. It's nodded back out though towards the left hand side. Corner taker, David Silva, left footed cross. Van Dijk headed it away very cleverly. Aguero had pulled away, and now Aguero crosses to the back post, and Henderson was there unchallenged to twist and head it out towards the far side. And then Liverpool look to bring it forward quickly. Salah turns it infield, and it's been flagged on the far side, the challenge on Salah, which has been given as a free kick, and indeed a yellow card to Bernardo Silva. A little late on Mohamed Salah. Yeah, late challenge there. It was Mane down the line to Salah. Salah then holds up the ball. He plays the ball to Mane, a little bit of a late 1-2, and then Silva catches him right on the toe just as he goes to pass it. Watching the replay, there it is. That's a little bit naughty again. What's City a bit naughty today, John? That's not like them. No, and Martin Atkinson, I think, feeling that the time was right to show the first yellow card. I mean, it was a yellow card. Yeah, it was, yeah. There's been a couple of challenges now from both teams that have just been on the edge. Very often the best refs, though, Dion, as you'll know, in big games like this, do tend to hold off. Yeah, they do, and they'll leave it and they'll see how the game's balancing out and how it's going. This was one too many, I think, and I think he was right to go to his pocket for the yellow card on this occasion. Almost half of the first half play. Liverpool 0, Manchester City 0. Long ball forward from the back. Liverpool changing it up a little bit there, up towards Firmino. It's headed away, but Liverpool take up possession again. Milner to the left-hand side to the new Scotland captain last month at least, Andy Robertson. Now to the England vice-captain, Jordan Henderson. Milner on the left-hand side. And then Mane will go back to Jordan Henderson. And it has finished Rangers 3, Hearts 1. So Rangers with a really good 3-1 win over the team that came into this weekend as the leaders in Scotland, Steven Gerrard's side, who've had an excellent week after a good win in the Europa League on Thursday night, and then a 3-1 win against Hearts. Celtic currently 5-0 up away at St Johnstone. So 0-0 here, Dion. And, yet to absolutely get flying this game.
No, it's not setting the world alight at the moment. City on every occasion trying to play out from the back. Liverpool happy to go a little bit longer, a little bit quicker than normal. City here are playing across the 6-yard box. Centre half to centre half, not worried at all. Just sort of teasing Liverpool in. And the more you play there, the easier it is to squeeze, because the more players you get forward. Hence, they're struggling now to get hold of the ball, and they've lost it.
Yes, they have. Liverpool have got it back. Can't help but think back to the mistake that was made at Leicester by, admittedly, the Liverpool goalkeeper, Alisson, the other week. You know, you were always just one little loss of concentration away from conceding a goal in this position. But here's Edison, who I remember last season Sean Dyche at Turf Moor saying it's like having Ronald Koeman playing in goal for you. Which I thought was a great quote.
He would be some people who could play like Ronald Koeman.
That mobile. Here on the right hand side is Mahrez. Mahrez now running at the Liverpool defence. Mahrez coming in field now. He's got the option there of Bernardo Silva, who was the first player to be booked in this match. Bernardo Silva now twisting away from Robertson, gives it to Mahrez. And the talent that there are in areas of the field in this match are jaw-dropping, really. Walker then back to Stones. Stones then goes all the way back.
They get themselves in some great crossing positions, City, but they just don't want to throw it in there. They don't want to gamble on a great ball going in the box, and then let's see what happens. They want to create something special. They want to create the perfect goal, so it looks at the moment. There's plenty of times to cross it, and sometimes it's worth just sticking it in there just to see what happens. On the odd occasion.
0-0, Liverpool and Manchester City. Jurgen Klopp making this tactical switch today. Gomez at right back, Lovren coming in alongside Van Dijk in central defence. So the new 20-year-old on his 20th birthday, Trent Alexander-Arnold, is on the bench for the first time this season. Stones in possession. One or two gesticulations from him towards Laporte. I'm not sure whether that was actually for Mendy on the far side. Stones back in possession, gives it to Laporte, and then Laporte lifts it out towards the far side. He's another one who's just so comfortable in possession, Laporte. Mendy's ball in field didn't find Fernandinho, so Liverpool have got it back, and then Mendy closes it down out of play for a throw into Liverpool on the far side.
It's okay having the ball, it's okay being comfortable with the ball, it's okay making sure that you don't give it away and making sure the way the pass is good, but you've got to look forward, you've got to be positive with it. Liverpool will not try and squeeze you unless you play at a very, very slow tempo that gives them a chance to get into positions. That's what they do. They wait. When it's time, they'll go and get it back. Now Liverpool have the ball at the back here. It won't take so long for them to get forward.
That's Dion Dublin with us here on BBC 5 Live in the World Service. Still 0-0 as the ball is headed by Walker above Milner, out of play, throwing to Liverpool. Worcester 52, Bristol 7 is the full-time score in our featured match in the Premiership this afternoon. We'll have more on that at half-time in this match. City with the ball deep inside their own half. No particular pressing this time. City suggested, Guardiola, that Kevin De Bruyne might be back for this game. He is back in training, but not ready yet to be involved in the 18. So he's not involved. And no Gundogan either. Here's Bernardo Silva, one of the players who came into the team today. City making 4 changes from Hoffenheim on Tuesday evening. Ball played towards the left-hand side to Sterling, but Gomez gets the better of Sterling and leaves Sterling on the ground, his England teammate. They'll be meeting up, no doubt, in the next couple of days together back at St George's Park. Might just mention that one. Bernardo Silva back into central defence to Laporte, and then Fernandinho gives it back to the Frenchman. Square to the Englishman, Stones. Now to the right-hand side to Mahrez. Guardiola on the edge of the coaching area, urges him on. Mahrez's ball takes a deflection, and will just carry it through to goalkeeper Alisson.
Firmino. I like the way Milner's down at the moment. I think Milner's got to get some treatment, but watching Roberto Firmino is so unselfish with his, even when he's out of play with the ball, he always drops in to try and help his team out. Liverpool are going into a 4-4-1-1 on the odd occasion. Sometimes a 4-5-1, but it's always Firmino that's going back to do all the hard yards. Really, really good team player.
Now, what's happened to Milner here?
I'm not sure.
Ended up on the ground.
Didn't see anything at all.
It's his lower right leg, I think, that is being looked at by the Liverpool medical people, and he's lying on his back with his hands round the back of his head. So we've got a stoppage here. The players have come across to have a drink of the water bottles. It's not exactly sweltering this afternoon, and it looks as though Liverpool are going to make a change, and Milner obviously a big loss.
Yeah, it's something that you have to take as a footballer. You know footballers, and you know that if Milner's down, you know something's wrong. He never stays down unless he's hurt. He's now on his feet. He's walking very gingerly. Not quite sure what it is. Didn't see where he was holding or what the physios were treating him for, but he stayed down and he's still sort of on his haunches, bending over.
He's played in all of the matches this season, James Milner, for Liverpool, in all competitions. Just came on as a sub in one of them against Southampton. Played a lot of football, and Keita is being brought forward. Jurgen Klopp towering over little Keita as they walk together towards the edge of the pitch, arm around him, instructions. Jurgen Klopp, hands going forward, backwards, sideways, touches the back of his bottom, then puts his arms around Keita, gives him a hug. The two of them talking animatedly to one another, and then James Milner walks off the field and he gets a hug from Jurgen Klopp as well. And indeed, Keita is hugged onto the pitch by Mane as well. Remarkable, really. Having spent a night in hospital in Naples this week, Sunday afternoon he's back on the field to play Manchester City.
If there's a game that you're going to recover very quickly from, it'll be this game coming up, and I think Keita could have a lot to say in this game. He's the kind of player that can unlock a door, works incredibly hard, very talented young man.
Liverpool 0, Manchester City 0. Dion Dublin with us here for the commentary. 6:06 to follow with Alistair Bruce Ball and Danny Mills today as Robertson sends a long ball forward, but Ederson comes out and is able to gather it into his chest. I'll tell you in the second half when the lines are open, and at half-time we'll have more reflections on the earlier games today. Arsenal incredibly impressive 5-1 winners at Fulham. 2 goals for Lacazette, 2 for Aubameyang, and a very, very clever flicked goal by Aaron Ramsey. So that's 9 wins in a row for Arsenal in all competitions, and they've got 18 points. They can't challenge for the league title. Dion, surely to goodness.
Can they? Just maybe.
They're currently 2 points behind the leaders now, Chelsea, who won 3-0 at Southampton. Hazard, Barkley and Morata. Barkley will also be joining up with the England squad in the next couple of days. Here is David Silva, who turns and plays the ball towards the left-hand side. Raheem Sterling running at Gomez. Sterling slips it forward, but not even Mendy will reach that. Sprinting at pace, the ball ran over the white line, and Mendy had to slam on the brakes before he ran into the hoardings. And that's a careless goal kick from Liverpool. Passed straight beyond Gomez and out of play for a throw-in.
Yeah. I mean, Sterling overhits his ball into Mendy. Mendy goes on the overlap, puts it into Mendy. It's gone too far. He goes out for a goal kick. Now Alisson gets the ball as quick as possible and tries to pass it in the area that Mendy's just left, but kicks it straight out for a throw-in. Really careless. That's when you've got to take your time. You get the ball back with pace, and when you get the ball back, that's when you go calm. Make sure your quality's correct.
It's 0-0. There were 18 goals, 18 in the 4 matches between them last season, but still waiting for the first of this campaign. Here's Firmino, who runs into Fernandinho, wins a free kick, nothing more than that. Fernandinho just sort of stepped across him.
Yeah, it was a right decision. It was a free kick, but nothing more than that. It's an interesting watching City go forward. You've got Mahrez out on the right wing, Sterling out on the left wing, and Sergio Aguero just standing between the two Liverpool centre halves, Lovren and Van Dijk, and they're in a line, just waiting for the ball to come to them.
It does have a touch of caginess about this game. Liverpool 0, Manchester City 0. It's not quite the thrills and spills of Jose Mourinho and Rafa Benitez's swashbuckling teams from Old Trafford last night.
What a game that was.
Wasn't it? Just that was as entertaining as I think anything I've seen this season.
It was brilliant.
Here is Liverpool. Lovren with a long ball forward. Firmino gets a touch, but it got a double touch for Manchester City, and then Laporte stood up very strongly against Firmino. The two of them shoulder to shoulder. Free kick, Manchester City. Firmino just a little over aggressive with the challenge.
Yeah, not sure why that was given. Shoulder to shoulder, Firmino came out on top. Firmino has still got, and I'll tell you this, John, now, Firmino has still got that little stamp on his ankle in his head. He wasn't quite sure who'd done it, but it's still in his head.
Yeah, and then on the halfway line, Henderson picked up for a foul on Bernardo Silva, so a free kick to Manchester City. A little bit of frustration growing that decisions are going against Liverpool. I sense as the ball is played back by Stones to goalkeeper Ederson. Now Laporte almost standing on the goal line, and now it's pulled right across the 6-yard box. Mane is only 5 or 6 yards away. Manchester City with Walker chipping it forward towards Bernardo Silva. Now quick from Bernardo Silva. David Silva, left-footed ball long for Mahrez, but Van Dijk got up high and headed it away. Ball played centrally, and then Fernandinho clips Mane near the centre circle, and then as Mane went down, Fernandinho landed with his feet. I'm not sure whether one of them landed on him, and they both got up and faced each other up, and then it all calmed down. Free kick Liverpool.
A little bit niggly there between Wijnaldum and Fernandinho. They're just trying to break the two up. A little bit of pushing and shoving, but it's the edge to the game we haven't seen yet. Just that little sort of I want to win. It's been very, very cagey. Very you have it, we have it, but now I think the edge to the game is just starting to rear its head.
Yes, Wijnaldum just stepped in between Mane and
was it Fernandinho?
Fernandinho,
yeah.
and he came in with his arm up as well.
Yeah, John, sometimes you've got to lift that arm up, just put it in an area that just might remind him to stay away, young man, please, that's my player.
We didn't necessarily expect it to be a game with, sort of an edge to it, but it is developing into one.
Yeah, and I think you need to. It's such a big game. There's so many good players on. We knew that the quality was going to be good, and it is. But without a spark, nobody's really taken the game by the scruff of the neck as yet. Been very respectful to each other, but it needs to have an edge to it. It's got to.
Liverpool 0, Manchester City 0. Just over 10 minutes to go to half-time here at Anfield on this dry but overcast afternoon on Merseyside. Ball bouncing out of play for a throw-in. Level with the edge of the Manchester City box to the visitors, the champions, the winners of the Premier League and the Carabao Cup last season, against the Champions League finalists. Here's Lovren turning and just volleying the ball out of play 10 yards inside the Manchester City half. So at half-time, more on Arsenal's win at Fulham, Chelsea's win at Southampton. Celtic still 5-0 up at St Johnstone. Finished Bristol City 1, Sheffield Wednesday 2 in the Championship, by the way. Manchester City taking a while to take this throw-in, which has not gone unnoticed by the Liverpool supporters. Comes back for Liverpool. Wijnaldum on the far side. Wijnaldum plays it down the line. Salah couldn't keep it in, so it's another throw-in to Manchester City over there.
How many throw-ins is that? Is that four? That must be 4 throw-ins down the left-hand side for City in a 10-yard area. Surely they've got to switch it out of that area.
Ball played up towards Sterling, who tried to flick it on and ended up controlling it brilliantly. However, he's then given it away. And Liverpool now, but Manchester City very quickly back in position here. They've clearly been extremely well drilled for this game, as of course you would suggest they would be under Pep Guardiola. Henderson turns, gives it back to Keita now. Keita having come on as a substitute for Milner. Oh, that's a heavy touch by Firmino, and he's given it straight to Aguero. And Aguero now buzzing out towards the left-hand side. Feet going so quickly. Lovren comes across. He's on the left wing now. Aguero plays it back to Mendy, who played it in field almost without looking. So that's given possession back to Liverpool. And Robertson will just calmly roll it back to goalkeeper Alisson.
Yeah, careless by both teams, giving the ball away in dangerous areas there. Pass outside of the right boot from Firmino, goes straight to Aguero, did nothing with it. Keita gets it back, did nothing with it. I think there's just a little bit more care got to be had.
Yeah, as Alisson clears left-footed, took a flick off a Manchester City head though, but Mahrez is going to do well to keep this in. Oh, he has kept it in. Mahrez, 5 or 6 yards from the corner flag, but turns and passed it straight out of play. And the assistant, possibly too close, has given the throw in to Manchester City. And Robertson and Keita were apoplectic. So I think the assistant, the linesman, will have got the message there that he got it wrong.
Yeah, yes, maybe.
So Walker, just in front of Jurgen Klopp, plays it to Bernardo Silva, who goes back into his own half to John Stones. Stones to Laporte. It's 0-0, 5 live in the World Service. Now to the left-hand side to Mendy. Mendy to Raheem Sterling. Sterling now near the middle of the half. David Silva takes it on. A couple of touches from him. Back to Mendy on the left-hand side. Mendy's ball in. Finds Sterling. He pokes it back out of the box to David Silva. Now to the left-hand side. Mendy's ball in to the penalty area to Sterling. Sterling into David Silva. angle was very tight there. Van Dijk came across, and Van Dijk blocked it behind, and it is given as a corner.
Yeah, it was better. It was better. Again, it was patient, but it was patient with an edge. It was a patient looking forward. It was Mendy actually tried to whip across him, and he got it all wrong. Went straight to Sterling's feet in the box, and he just put David Silva in. Tried to cross it, got a corner. Better though.
Yep, David Silva, you know, the close passing there. Here's David Silva, outswinging corner, headed away by Lovren. Stretched by Fernandinho to head it forward again. Mahrez with a touch, then David Silva, and then eventually the flag goes up. David Silva had come back from an offside position, having taken the corner, but it was Mahrez who had the initial touch.
Yeah, I don't understand why it was Sterling, Mahrez, David Silva. The ball the corner gets headed away by Lovren, and I don't know why they don't get onside and stay up with the back four. They stay in there as a three. Everything heading back in, you've got to be offside. Get yourself onside, give yourself every chance of keeping the pressure on.
Aguero, little ball in field, and then he's given it back by Fernandinho, but he's trying to take on 3-4 Liverpool players here and runs out of space. Forward from Van Dijk. Now Salah's off and running. Mendy trying to catch him, and in the end Laporte actually has to slide across and put the ball out of play. A man who's very clearly defined by wearing an enormous white hoodie and a white baseball cap stands up and urges Liverpool on in the crowd in the lower areas of the Sekeni Dalglish stand. Liverpool in possession with Wijnaldum. Here it goes to the left hand side for Liverpool. Robertson back to Wijnaldum, who's very quickly closed down by Bernardo Silva, so just rolls it back to the ever impressive Van Dijk. Robertson now, left-footed ball to the edge of the area. Stones heads that away above Mane. Now Henderson looks over his shoulder as he passes it to Robertson. Robertson goes past his fellow number 26, Mahrez. Robertson still going, but Walker put in the crucial touch, and now it's cleared away by Bernardo Silva. Touch off the head of Mahrez. Wijnaldum loses possession. Here's Aguero to the right. Mahrez stretches his legs, then picks up possession. Mahrez against two Liverpool men, but Jordan Henderson was able to block the intended infield pass, and Liverpool break forward. Henderson to Keita. Keita's halfway inside his own territory. There's a huge amount of space on the right hand side, but Keita's pass is short to Gomez, and so Sterling was quickly onto the ball for Manchester City. Sterling, though, just checks the momentum. Fernandinho back to Sterling again on the left wing. Mendy arrives on the scene. Fernandinho is given the ball by Mendy, and then Sterling can't keep it in on the far side, and that really sums things up to a certain extent.
It does, yeah. It's a great battle, that Gomez at right back, and Sterling going down the left for Liverpool as well. It's an intriguing battle at the moment. Gomez is getting the better of Sterling, but no side really created any clear-cut chances. Yes, it can be good tidy football on the odd occasion, but lapses in concentration. Final ball hasn't been good. That's what one team needs to do. The final ball, the final pass.
Here's a ball for Salah, who's in an offside position, so it's a free kick to Manchester City. Celtic, briefly one of your former clubs,
yes,
have scored another one. 6. Callum McGregor scored in the 84th minute, so it's St Johnstone 0, Celtic 6, after what's been a little bit of a rocky time for Celtic.
It has. I was only there for a very short period of time under Gordon Strachan, and we used to have 75% possession every single game, away and at home. Surely you win everything, don't you? As we did
in that brief time you were there.
In that brief time I was there. Thank you very much, John.
Liverpool 0, Manchester City 0. Half time approaching. Here's Stones, and then Mahrez will play it back into central defence for John Stones. All of the reaction from this match, by the way, and all today's games, if you miss it on 606 tonight or in the bulletins on 5 Live, you can download the 5 Live Football Daily podcast, the new, revamped, better than ever 5 Live Football Daily podcast in the morning on your way to work. Here, Liverpool in possession, halfway inside their own half. Henderson, left-footed, plays it towards Mane, who allows it to run, but Kyle Walker, tight on Mane, did well. Gets to the ball first and plays it back across to goalkeeper Ederson, who passes it out to Laporte. We have 2.5 minutes to half-time here at Anfield. Fernandinho now to the left-hand side. That's where Aguero is. Aguero, Manchester City's top scorer, of course, this season. Little run infield from him, but Gomez and Henderson deal with him. Manchester City take up possession again, though, in the central third of the field. John Stones. Little ball over the halfway line to Bernardo Silva, who's dropped very deep. And now Laporte again. It must be Laporte and Stones who've seen more of the ball than anyone else in the match so far. Bernardo Silva now on a run through the middle, and he's balked over by the hip of Jordan Henderson. It's a free kick forward to the centre circle. You know, one or two City players, Dion, going to referee Atkinson and suggesting that might have been worth a yellow card.
Yeah, maybe a bit cynical there from Henderson. What I'm noticing is that both teams must have done so much work on defending when they haven't got the ball, getting themselves back into shape, allowing City, allowing Liverpool to have the ball. What can you do? First 10 minutes, Liverpool were trying to squeeze, City were trying to squeeze, win the ball high up. Now they're not doing it. Now they're saying, what have you got? Can you break us down? And neither team have the answer.
No. Players grouped around where this free kick is going to be taken. David Silva still just talking away to Martin Atkinson, and I think Martin Atkinson might have given it the old, I'll referee this game, if you don't mind.
Leave it to me, thank you, young man.
Just the one yellow card so far for Bernardo Silva. Liverpool 0, Manchester City 0. But set piece here, forward of the centre circle, about 5 yards ahead of the centre circle. An extremely high line being held by Liverpool, which tends to be the way these days. And Mahrez is going to drop it over there now, which he does, into the full-back position, where Laporte tried to cross it, and he hit it straight into Henderson, and it bounced away out of play on the far side for a throw-in to Manchester City.
That line could have only have been 20-25 yards away from the ball. Must have been 9 red shirts in the line. They still played it to the far end of that, trying to find Laporte.
Throw-in, Mendy.
That was a terrible throw-in.
Gets it back, then crosses left-footed. It's headed away by Van Dijk in the middle, though. Anfield actually almost hushed at the moment as half-time approaches. And again, you can't help but think about the contrast in atmosphere from the last time that Manchester City were here on that extraordinary night in the Champions League where Liverpool won 3-0 and then went and won 2-1 at Manchester City as well in the second leg. Here, Wijnaldum though, as David's added time. We did have the injury to James Milner. Naby Keita coming on. Wijnaldum very nearly gave it away on the halfway line. He's just taken a bang on his left ankle, Robertson. I think he's okay. Rodri.
Why is it no? Go! Go and play. Go and play.
I've not made a goal. Come on, lads, give us a goal.
We go and play. Where are you going?
It's just a blue line running down the middle of it.
You go and play in the room.
Manchester City 0, therefore you will gather is the score.
You go and play in the room.
Half time almost approaching.
Room. Right. Away and play in the room.
Free kick to Manchester City. Mendy looked as though he was in a hurry to take it, but I think Fernandinho just told him
Okay, go play, bye.
A slight frustration,
Play the room.
especially with me, whether the fans agree or not, is that there's lots and lots of small passes being played, but both teams are going nowhere. And there's so many occasions when both these teams can go long. Yeah, they are going long. Manchester City too long from Walker. Over the head of David. Fernandinho heads it forward in the centre circle. I think that is going to be it. It is. So a game of almost no chances between Liverpool and Manchester City in the first 45 minutes. They have, in the grand tradition, cancelled each other out. Yeah, they have, and it's you know, it started off incredibly promising. Lots of energy, lots of good passing. Both teams trying to play out from the back. Both teams trying to win the ball high on the pitch. And and then it went a little bit flat. And we've had no chances on goal. We've got Allison in a lovely yellow kit, nice and clean, and Ederson's in a lovely green kit, nice and clean. They've had nothing to do, no chances on goal. I'm looking forward to the second half.
So there you are. Liverpool 0, Manchester City 0 at half-time. And Mark Rugatch is here with us.
You know that bit where I said we really look forward to games? And sometimes they're a sticker, but it won't be this one. Me and my big mouth.
I can't remember the last time I wrote down nothing in the first half.
I kept thinking, something's going to happen soon. It can't be that dull. It must be better to listen to or even watch. But it really wasn't, was it?
No, it wasn't. And, you know, we were sort of lulled into a false sense of security. First 5 minutes looked lively, and then both teams seemed to just go further and further back. They sat up. Nothing really happened. Nobody took a shot on goal. There was no headers. There was no crosses. There was absolutely nothing so far in this game. Very disappointed. Yeah. Very disappointed.
Producer Gary's just asked to take a picture of my blank page to put on social media. If anything sums up social media.
Let me hold it for you, Gary.
It's a picture
Give us a
blank page.
Can you take a picture of that?
Dion, I'll make a vaguely serious point. Pep Guardiola won't mind so much, will he? They're away. It's not. Yeah, the 0-0 for Man City here is okay. Okay, but it takes them back to the top of the table for what it's worth.
No, it does. It does. And yeah, you're right. I think Pep will go in thinking, listen, we're still in the game. It's only 0-0. We've done everything we wanted to do. We obviously wanted to go in front, but I don't think Klopp will be too happy. I just think in the final third, both teams, they're not picking the right pass. They haven't been bright enough or brave enough to cross the ball into the box and see what happens. Both trying to score the perfect goal. It hasn't happened as yet. There's got to be one player in the dressing room that can spark this game for us.
It will be different, we promise. I can't pretend we're going to get 6 goals like Ronnie Forsyth has had in Perth today.
Yes, a early afternoon here didn't quell the forest fire raging across McDermott Park in the first half that saw James of that name rampage against a dazed St Johnstone defence who couldn't withstand the winger. His first came on the rebound from a deflected shot by Edward, his second from a 1-2 with Rogic. Number 3 was a solo run shot from a Rogic pass. Forest got number 4 almost unopposed before the break, and between time odds on Edward added to the tally. Saints had Danny Swanson sent off for clattering Forest, who didn't have the ball at the time. The rest was anticlimactic, but McGregor made it 6-0. That's as many as Celtic scored in their previous 7 games, and it sets up a very interesting fixture after the international break, because Celtic will play Hibs. Hibs scored 6 yesterday without reply also. Defended well on top, didn't you think so?
Rangers beat Hearts 3-1 a little bit earlier, so going into the international break, they've all played 8 games. Hearts 19 points, first appeal of the season today at Ibrox. Hibs 17, Celtic 16, Kilmarnock 16, Livingston 15, Rangers 14. So exciting opening period to the season in Scotland. Right, we'll round up what's happened elsewhere so far today after we've heard from the news and Lisa McCormick.
On digital, online, smartphone and tablet, this is BBC 5 Live.
A man's been shot dead by a cyclist in Liverpool. The 27-year-old was attacked in the Belvale area of the city this morning. Richard Foster has more details.
Armed police were called just before 11:30 following reports that a man had been shot in the street. The victim was taken to hospital but died later. Officers say the gunman was riding a bike and dressed all in black with a high-vis orange jacket. He escaped into a nearby housing estate. Police say they share the community's shock and are appealing for witnesses.
Monjay says it's taking legal action against the supplier of a dairy-free yoghurt after a customer died from a suspected allergy. The yoghurt was in a sandwich sold in Bath last December. Testing showed it contained traces of dairy protein. KOYR has rejected Pret's claims. The BBC has found that children are easily able to buy e-cigarettes and vaping liquid, even though it's illegal to sell them to under 18s. A recent survey of 2,000 young people found the proportion who've tried vaping has tripled since 2013. The SNP is setting out its position on Brexit and a second independence referendum for Scotland. The party's autumn conference is starting in Glasgow, and its leader Nicola Sturgeon wants to portray it as an alternative to what she calls uncertainty at Westminster. Ian Blackford, the SNP's Westminster leader, has been talking about Brexit.
The only situation where the SNP would support a deal is if it does keep us in the single market and the customs union. If that doesn't happen, then we'll be going through the lobbies and voting against any proposal that the Prime Minister puts forward. Now, any discussion on Scottish independence, of course, is going to be informed as to what happens through that Brexit process.
Comedy writer Graham Lynham has been given a verbal warning by police for alleged harassment. It follows a row with a transgender woman on Twitter. Stephanie Hayden claims he referred to her as he and tweeted names she started using before transitioning. She's suing him. He's considering legal action against her. And Kylie Minogue's Dublin and Belfast concerts have been cancelled because she has a throat infection. She was due to perform in Dublin's 3 Arena tonight and then head north tomorrow.
In 2016, it was Thomas Wilkins.
George North, what a try!
In 2017, it was Isaac Barrington.
Rashford comes up with the goods with the finish.
And right now, we're on the lookout for our next commentary star.
What an opportunity!
You know a young person aged 11 to 15
I do, me.
and loves talking about it, then we want to hear them in action. All they have to do is go to bbc.co.uk.
What is it now? Shut the door!
To win a money can't buy commentary experience.
Rayla, what is that?
Is at 9 a.m. on the
Go and
29th
take
of
the chair.
October. See the website for full
I'll take you to
terms and privacy
bed.
notice. Young Commentator of the Year from BBC Radio 5 Live. This is 5
I was
Live.
speaking of beautiful people.
No goals, little to talk about the first half here at Anfield between Liverpool and Manchester City. Chelsea on top at the moment after a very comfortable 3-0 win at Southampton earlier. Manager Mauricio Sarri often
What
said
is that? Go and play in the room.
Goals came from Hazard, Morata and
Because I don't know, he's just right set. Go and play in the room. Shut the door.
as well. Does he
Go and
feel the
play.
midfielder that he's back to his best?
I've been at a very high level myself, you know, for a couple of years. It's just more about producing the performances on game day. Last season I had a difficult time with injuries, but you know, on the training pitch I felt strong and confident, and and this season I had a strong pre-season behind myself. And as the season goes on, I'm sure I'll continue to improve and show what I'm capable of.
There has been a lot of talk in the last few weeks about Liverpool, Manchester City and the title.
Go and play in the
Chelsea
room.
are right in there, aren't they?
Yeah, we're right in there, you know, we've got players that
I presume the body each other like what a riot
we
is.
all believe that we're capable of doing that, but we're just taking each month as they come, setting our targets, and you know, hopefully at the end of the season we get the trophy.
Ross Barkley speaking to Chris Wise there. Arsenal thrashed full of 5-1 at Craven Cottage, which led to the away fans chanting, "We've got our Arsenal back." Arsenal are fourth tonight thanks to a goal of the season contender from Aaron Ramsey and 2 each from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Alexander Lacazette.
Big score, but I think it's hard for Fulham because they play well in the first half. It was hard for us to play, but we know if we keep going, we're going to score and we can win. So everyone is happy today, it's fun as well, I think, so perfect for us now.
You started the season with 2 very difficult games. You lost them, and a lot of stuff was said about Arsenal then. Now you've won 9 matches back-to-back. Do you feel like a different team, like a new team?
No, we knew with a new manager it's always long to start. We knew even if we lost the 2 games, 2 first game is not the end of the world. With work and with patience, we knew we can go forward, and with the fan is better now, so everything is better.
Alexander Lacazette with Steve Wilson, match of the day to 10:30 this evening. BBC One with Mark Chapman and Alan Shearer and Jimmy Genus. Some goals to savour from the weekend, particularly that one from Ramsey this afternoon. Thierry Henry and Brendan Rodgers are on the shortlist to replace Steve Bruce at Aston Villa. Villa are 15th in the Championship after losing 2-1 at Millwall yesterday. Let's have a word with the BBC Sports Simon Stone, who's relieved not to talk about Jose Mourinho for 5 minutes. Simon, what do you know about this one?
Well, it's interesting, Mark, because the 5 names that I've been given, the people that Aston Villa are quite interested in, as you say, Thierry Henry, Brendan Rodgers, also Rui Faria, Jose Mourinho's long-time assistant who resigned from his post at Manchester United in the summer for personal reasons. Rodgers in particular has form for getting clubs promoted from the Championship. It's what he did with Swansea. Clearly that's a while ago now, but there's a feeling, I suppose, that Rodgers might just be coming to the end of his time at Celtic, that he might have achieved as much as he can do, and although it's handy that they've won 6-0 today, you know, where can he go?
he gets into the Champions League, but there's a bit of a glass ceiling there. So that's a very, very interesting one. Thierry Henry has made his management ambitions well known, but he's never managed anywhere. Fore, obviously, as an assistant, is well known, but Rodgers would be a very, very intriguing choice. But there's no definitive move yet, no decision made. But yes, they're the names in the
my arsehole.
Good story to keep an eye on, Simon. Thank you very much. Well, we're done in an hour's time. 6:06 is here, and Alistair Bruce-Paul has a different wingman this evening.
I do indeed, Mark, but we only ever go for former Norwich players. So Chris Sutton is not here. Danny Mills is here. Danny, not masses to talk about from the first half at Anfield. We'll obviously find something to chat about. We want to hear from Liverpool fans and City fans. Should Manchester City have had a penalty, do you think, Lovren on Aguero?
I think if it had been given, you couldn't really argue. It's very, very difficult in real time to see it, for the referee to see it. We've seen the replays. Could have quite easily been a penalty, but it's been a bit of a nothing game. I mean, what I hear from Man United fans as well. Yeah. After all the euphoria of the second half last night, having slept on it, is Mourinho the right man for the job still? Do you still want him in charge of your football club?
Yeah, will that be a spark to relight the flame, or will it be a flash in the pan? I know Arsenal and Chelsea fans will be screaming at the radio as well. Can those two last the distance, you think, in the title race? Arsenal, that's 6 Premier League wins in a row. Chelsea still unbeaten. Hazard on form again today.
Neither of them have Champions League football, and if they don't take the Europa League that seriously, that's unlikely. Obviously, with Unai Emery's track record in that, they probably want to win that. But I think Arsenal-Chelsea fans, are you now legitimate challengers for the title?
Usual numbers, Mark. 08085 909 693. Straight after the game, 85058. I've just thought of one for the text suggestion. What would you write down on John Murray's blank piece of paper? Keep them clean. Thank you very much.
Help. At the moment, at half-time, help. Second half to come after we've heard from Cornelius Lyson, Frankie Dettori, and the favourite Enable narrowly winning flat races Canton Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe at Longchamp this afternoon, holding our fellow British filly Sea of Class. What a thrilling finish, and Cornelius Lyson joins us from Paris now.
No!
We would have two sides of A4 on this one.
No, can you piss about? No!
Enable, trained by John Gosden, Verona breeder Prince Khalid Abdullah, held off the
No, fuck off, boy. I'm sick of this fucking water piss.
A very fine performance in defeat by the second, and jockey James Doyle, who overcame a famously unfavourable wide draw in the stalls to nearly win. That's a record 6th arc success for Dettori. He broke his own record, was for Enable, racing for only the second time this year. So a fine training performance by the John Gosden team. She is the 8th horse to win 2 Arc de Triomphes. There was some compensation for Sea of Class's trainer William Haggis when his horse won Master to the Prix de la Forêt, whilst the Prix de l'Abbé once again went to Britain when the Michael Dodds trained Mabs Cross grabbed a late win.
Thank you very much, Cornelius. Elsewhere, Lewis Hamilton made it 6 wins out of the last 7 by winning the Japanese Grand Prix in his Mercedes. Hamilton could now clinch his 5th Formula 1 world title in 2 weeks at the US Grand Prix in Austin, Texas. Khabib Nurmagomedov has apologised for the violent scenes that followed his victory over Conor McGregor at UFC 229 in Las Vegas. Both the Russian and McGregor were involved in post-fight brawls with members of their rivals' teams. And Mo Farah's won the Chicago Marathon in a new European record of 2 hours, 5 minutes and 11 seconds. Dion, interesting listening to Danny there on the Aguero-Lovren clash. And I think John, I'll let you finish your tweet. I think John got exactly the right verb when he said we couldn't tell whether Aguero stumbled or had been brought down. And I think Martin Atkinson probably had to err on the side of safety. He could not be 100% certain.
On the normal time, it looked like it could have been a penalty quite easily, because there was a swipe of the left leg from Lovren right behind Aguero. Aguero went down instantly. So at normal time, you could have actually given a penalty. But if you're not sure, you can't. I think the referee got it right on this occasion. We've seen it a couple of times, and I'm still not sure if it's a penalty or not.
Right, let's get something written down on this virtual piece of paper. John Murray.
Yeah, come on everyone. Teams are out. Liverpool, just the one change from the first half when Keita came on for Milner. So Alisson, Gomez, Lovren, Van Dijk and Robinson. Joe Gomez a right back if you weren't listening in the first half. Midfield, Henderson, Wijnaldum and substitute Keita. Then the tried and tested front line of Salah, Firmino and Mane. Just one shot wide from Mohamed Salah in the first half. And then Manchester City, Ederson, Walker, Stones, Laporte and Mendy. Fernandinho Coutinho with Bernardo Silva and David Silva in midfield, Riyad Mahrez on the right, Raheem Sterling on the left, and Sergio Aguero up front. Martin Atkins blows his whistle, and Liverpool get the second half underway. In the second half, they are attacking towards the Kop end, which is to our right. I see people still scurrying down the steps to their seats from our position on high. Joe Gomez being put under pressure by Raheem Sterling illegally. It's a free kick to Liverpool inside their own half. Dion Dublin watching here with us from right at the front of the top tier of the main stand, with Van Dijk now carrying the ball forward. The World Service are with us as well again. Welcome to you from all around the globe, the many millions of listeners that we have to a rather overcast Merseyside. Still one or two slices of blue sky away in the distance.